You're unable to bring what you want into your life, whether it's more money or a better relationship, because you lack the ability to tap into your feminine energy, or you lack the ability to tap into your masculine energy. You need both of these poles, both of these polarities, in order to change your reality. So, no long talk today. Let's get into it. So, where's this concept of masculine and feminine energy come from? Well, in the Kabbalion, it is the concept of gender. Okay. And this isn't some video where I'm going to tell you there's 500 genders and stuff like that. Like, I'm not trying to be offensive or anything like that, but when it comes to the laws of the universe, there is masculine and feminine. And it's actually very polarizing to use the terms masculine and feminine to describe this, because it gets people charged up based on our current climate of the world. But basically, masculine is projection and feminine is receiving. You do both, you need both. Okay? So, we're going to be talking a lot about the mind today, the mental plane. Firstly, this is how the universe is structured. We have a spiritual plane, a mental plane, and a physical plane. This is soul, mind, and body. At the peak of the spiritual plane, we have the All God, Allah, Brahman, Big Bang, the initial creation spark of the universe, where everything originates from. Our goal is to become more like the qualities of the All God, Allah, Brahman, Big Bang, if we want to import things into our life. Now, what you have to understand is that the All God, Allah, Big Bang, is the synthesis of masculine and feminine. The Bible talks about God as a he, as a man, stuff like that. But really, God is the synthesis of both masculine and feminine. That is where it originates. All right, but I'm going to break down why God gets referred to as masculine more often. And it's not necessarily 100% to do with patriarchy. Okay, I'm going to break it down for you. But you have to understand your mind is split in two. Okay? You have a masculine mind and you have a feminine mind. You have Father God, Mother Nature. Okay? Masculine mind, feminine mind. Here you have the conscious. Here the subconscious. All right? Now, the subconscious is what ends up dictating your reality. So, reality is down here. This is physical reality. And the subconscious ends up dictating what your reality is based upon charges you have in your mind. This is the law of polarity, fourth hermetic law of the universe. Gender is the seventh hermetic law, last hermetic law of the universe. So your subconscious is a store of valency, which is a store of charges, okay, of the past due to your amygdala. Which is that's an L, not a C. So the amygdala, there are actually two of them, amygdalae, negative and positive. It's funny that there's two of them, but we use the term amygdala, and they're deep within your brain, near the hippocampus, which is responsible for memory. So your subconscious is built upon your memory based upon charged states of things that have happened to you and what you have perceived as good things that have happened to you or bad things that have happened to you. So for instance, if your parents praised you and made you feel pride when you did your homework, you might see it as a very good thing to do your homework, or to hand in your stuff at work on time, or to be praised for your work at your job, right? Now, when this doesn't happen, right, and you don't get praised for what you did, you get into a shame, fear, sadness state, because in your past, you had a perception of what should happen, because you have a past vector of positive things, and then the universe tries to put you in a homeostasis, tries to balance you out, and you don't get praised when you did your work at your job or whatever, right? But this is all based upon the past. The subconscious dictates your reality because it determines your decisions. The feminine energy is determining your decisions. It's determining what you receive, because you make a decision based upon your charges, based upon the past. All right. Now, the masculine energy is interesting because the masculine energy It's the projective energy. Whatever's in the masculine mind ends up projecting down into the feminine mind. The masculine mind are things like your I am statements. I am a particular individual. I am a teacher. I am an entrepreneur. I am an artist. These I am statements inject and impregnate into the feminine mind. And then the feminine mind imports this into the subconscious, determines the valency of it, and makes a decision. Your I am statements are going to come from your values. And if you don't know those, get my free value finder tool. It's in the description below. Come from your values. Your values create purpose, mission, and vision. And vision. Okay? Now, based upon your values, you're gonna have a purpose, and that purpose is gonna give you a mission that creates a vision for what you want to see in the world. Now, it's very important you live by your values. Otherwise, other people are gonna import their values into your feminine mind, and you're gonna project that out into the world, and it's gonna be misaligned with your values, and the universe is going to try and bring you into a homeostasis, and you're gonna have problems until you balance out and start living in your values. So let's say you value family, and you look up to somebody and have pedestalized somebody and they don't value family. So you decide you're gonna spend less time with your family, or you're not gonna go on trips, or you're not gonna do this or not gonna do that. Things that you would love to do with your family because you value your family, you don't do them because you're trying to look good in the eyes of somebody you pedestalized, and it ends up messing with your life and you end up miserable because the universe is trying to bring you into homeostasis, okay? Now, why can't people receive things? The feminine energy is the receiving, the masculine energy is the projecting. Oftentimes, people can't receive things because they have a lack of masculine energy, right? Or they have too much masculine energy or too much feminine energy. Too much feminine, you're not going to receive. Too much masculine, you're not going to receive. So when I say too much masculine energy, let's start with not enough masculine energy. You need to project something into the world, okay? There's projection. There's projection, there's receiving. You need to project something into the world. And you are always doing this. You're always doing this. If you dress a certain way, you are trying to project something to other people. They then receive that, right, and make decisions in their mind about you based on their charges, okay? Now, if you are projecting things into the world that don't fit with your values, you're gonna live an out of balanced life. If you want to, let's say, be a pilot, for instance, let's say you want to be a fashion consultant, right? Let's say you want to be a fashion consultant. If you don't project an image of somebody fashionable into the world, you're not going to get clients because they will not receive that message appropriately. You're going to reach the wrong people, okay? Just like if you're an entrepreneur and you're fit, for instance, you're going to project a different message to people and they're going to receive it differently. If you're fit, it demonstrates something of your character, reliability, consistency, discipline. People want that in the people they do business with. So if you're more fit, you will make more money. Your projection is very, very necessary when it comes to making money or when it comes to receiving things. And it boils a lot of it boils down to the way you look. Show up as your best, okay? Show up as your best. So that's one of the things you're not doing. You're not projecting the right things into the world, or you're literally not projecting enough into the world. You think you're working hard. Let's say you have a business or you're trying to make money online or something like that, and you're making like one piece of content a week, like one short form piece of content a week or something like that. you're not doing enough. Sorry, you're not doing enough. You're not projecting enough into the world to receive it back, because whatever you project out, you will receive. It is the law of rhythm. The pendulum swing to the left, the pendulum swing to the left is the pendulum swing to the right, okay? So whatever you project out, it is coming back to you. You just don't know when. And that's what bothers a lot of people. They don't know when it's coming. They have all this uncertainty, and that messes with people and puts them in a fear, predatory, shame, sad state, right? Which is where, and then they just start seeing all of that in their reality. Things to be afraid of, things to be ashamed of, things to be sad about, thinking, when will it happen? Which I made a video about, which you should go watch. So you need to project. Now, when it comes to receiving, feminine energy has a lot to do with worthiness, worth. Now, I find that women tend to be better at this worth thing, because I don't know, women just like kind of walk into the world, and since they have naturally a feminine energy most of the time, they end up receiving things, right? Because they just tend to have a higher level of self-worth. And your level of worthiness is going to be determined by your values. If you're doing what you value and you make progress within that, you're going to increase your self-worth. Okay? So let's say I value business, and my businesses start making more money or start generating more profit, or I start helping my clients in better ways. I'm going to feel more worthy. That means I'm going to feel more worthy of receiving money, of receiving clients, of receiving things in my life. Worth is a big thing with this. And here's what the manifestation space tries to do. They try to put you into a fantasy of worthiness, where you just think you're worthy. I'm worthy of everything. I'm worthy of getting this, and I'm worthy of getting that. And you know you're not. Deep down in your mind, in your amygdala, you know that this is a fantasy. Okay? Actually, it's not your amygdala. It's your intuition. And I made a video about this. You have, I'll just write it here. You have instinct. This is going to be kind of small, guys. You have instinct. You have impulse. And you have intuition. You have instinct, you have impulse, you have intuition. You're walking around, you're like, I'm worthy, I'm worthy, I'm worthy. Your intuition, which is a balancing vector, the all, okay? Measured, balanced, orderly. Your intuition is a balancing vector. You have instincts, which are meant to defend you. You have impulse, which has projected you to things that you deem as positive. Now, when you're going around saying you're worthy, and you know you're not worthy of certain stuff because you didn't do the required work to get it, or you know you haven't done the things that would make you worthy of it, you weren't living in your values, your intuition is saying you're not worthy of this. It's your intuition, all right? So then how do you increase your worthiness? You increase your worthiness by living in your values. Do what you care about and make progress in it, okay? If you know you're genuinely assisting people and getting people results for whatever it is you do, you're gonna feel worthy of getting more money. One of the biggest things I deal with my clients is that they don't feel worthy enough of getting more money, right? They feel like, oh, I'm supposed to charge $200 for this, when I know they can charge $2,000. But we have to work on increasing their worthiness, which simply means they have to live in their values for a longer period of time. That's all it is. You live in your values for a longer period of time, you get people results, you help people out, and you feel more worthy. You see what you've been able to do for other people. You see what you've been able to do for yourself, projected out into the world, and boom, your self-worth increases. I charge $1,000 for a call. I feel completely worthy of it. I don't need to charge less. I don't want to charge less. You understand? So, boom. Your feminine receiving has a lot to do with your worth, and you gotta earn that worth. You gotta earn it. Some of you don't want to hear that because you've been bamboozled by the manifestation space. But your intuition knows. Your intuition knows what you're worthy of, and you get everything you deserve in life. Everything you deserve. Okay? So if you didn't put the right amount of projection out into the world, if you didn't assist people, if you didn't provide value, you're not getting it. And speaking of value, because like I said before, females tend to be a lot better at this feminine energy thing because they're female, right? And, due to the reality we live in and due to having an amygdala and being human beings with animalistic natures, beauty, right? Beauty is a form of value. That projected beauty is a form of value into the world. So beautiful women tend to be able to import a lot of things into their lives because that projection is valuable to men. Okay, it's also valuable to women. Good-looking people make more money. It's just the reality of the world. That's why I said show up as best as you can. Make sure your projection is as good as it can be. Now, what people don't seem to realize is that income, money, is a feminine vector. Money is a feminine vector. You create income. You generate income. It is incoming to you. But how do you generate the income? Through projection. Even if you have a job, right? You had to put your resume together, which is a projection. Okay? That is something that you give to somebody else. You had to show up to the interview and show up as your best. That is a projection. And people are making assumptions about you. And boom, projection. Then you do the work, which is also a projection. You provide value to the customers or value to the company. And therefore, you get income. That's how it operates. Now, this sounds like a very logical solution to all of this, which it is. And that's because when you have these in a balance, right? When you have these in a balance, which is what the universe is always trying to do, and when you have your charges balanced, which is a different story altogether, you activate the prefrontal cortex, which creates objective strategies that will allow you to create the masculine projection necessary for the feminine receiving of the paper, of money. I think the greatest way to do this is to build a business that serves people. That's how you're going to make the most money, right? I think that's the way to do it. But with that being said, you can't tap into your feminine energy to receive things, likely because you're unworthy or you feel unworthy, all right? Due to the fact that your intuition is telling you you're not doing something that you know you should be doing or that you don't deserve it because you didn't put in the work. You didn't put in the work. And once again, the manifestation space doesn't want to tell you to work because it doesn't sell. But I have never met somebody who is rich, who did it by accident, and who didn't put in work. That's the way of the universe, okay? That's the way of the universe. That's how it operates. There was one more thing I was going to say. Oh, yeah. For people who have too much masculine energy, they project so much they can't receive anything. That is a problem. If you live too much in your masculine, too much in your projection, too much in not being able to accept anything, you won't get anything, okay? You go over to people, to a friend's house, they're like, hey, you want a drink? No, I don't want nothing. Especially, this happens a lot with Black people, especially in the Caribbean, because they think people are gonna cast obia on them, right? Which they might, but that shit only works when you believe in it. But like, they think someone's gonna cast obia on them. So they don't accept anything. And it's just a intrinsic part of the culture, which is problematic. So from a young age, you learn not to receive things. You learn to say no to people who want to give you things. Someone wants to give you a little money. No. Somebody wants to pay the bill. Nah, don't pay that. You're demonstrating to the universe that you don't want to receive because it's a whole lot of masculine projection. And I know in today's day and age, there's actually a lot of women who are living in their masculine energy, entirely in their masculine energy, and wonder why they can't receive anything. Because you're not opened up for the income. You're not opened up for the receiving, especially with relationships. How do you think you're putting a masculine projection into the world of like men ain't shit and men are this and men are that and men are that and this guy did this to me in my past, which makes me have a fear, shame, sadness, instinct about men, and I haven't canceled out the charges around this to be grateful for the situation that I was in, grateful that whoever did what they did so that my life could be in a better place, which you don't realize it is in a better place due to your breakup or whatever. So you develop all this masculine projection as a defense to not receive things. And then you bury it under the fact that you're working hard, or that you're hardworking, or that you don't want nothing from nobody else. You can only get rich from other people's money, guys. Which means you need to project something that is useful for them and be willing to receive compensation for it. If you're not willing to receive money, how are you gonna get money? Okay, so that's how you tap back into feminine energy to receive money. It's all about worth, and it's all about values. When you live in your values and you increase your self-worth by living in those values, you'll import more money into your life, as long as you have a masculine projection that provides value to other people. That being said, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.